The wheels keep turning, baby. Happy Thursday. This is Babz Rawls Ivy. If it's around 9 o'clock, you know it's time for Lovebabz, Lovetalk. Guess who's in the studio with me this morning? Hey, Roxana.
Hey, Miss Babz.
Walker-Canton.
Good morning. How are you?
Happy
New Year.
Happy New Year. Hey, congratulations on your BOE win over in Hamden.
Thank you so much.
Lord Black Jesus.
Yes.
How's it going?
So far, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting used to it. Doing a lot of observations, a lot of listening, and figuring it out.
Did y'all have y'all inaugural stuff already? Sworn in?
We did.
Okay.
And there was an interesting moment there, too. So the interesting moment was when they got to my name, they did not say my name. They skipped right over it. It was
what
the
do you
first
mean?
one. They did not say my name.
Because they can't read? Like, what's the...
The person just, I guess, couldn't read, or I guess just didn't see the name, the very first name on the list.
So
of
did
the
you have
Board
to
of
say,
Ed.
like, hello?
Well, a few people said it out loud, and then he comes back and says my name. But
Is
okay.
that the tone we're setting now?
Well, I believe, I don't think that things just happen. There was no way that he could not have seen my name. So
Is he not happy that you're in this seat?
who knows?
Oh, okay. You know, I'm starting to start some mess.
I know, but no, you're
So
not
I had-
starting it.
so
that was mess from the beginning.
Okay.
So I didn't say anything.
So I have to come to Hamden and deal with people.
Hey,
I'm looking forward to
you
that.
may have to, I think that's how Hamden works.
They want
Hamden
you to
works.
come deal.
Yeah, well, they work in these small little microaggressions like that sometimes. So that's why it's good to watch.
Because did he think that if you didn't call your name that you wouldn't get sworn
I know,
in?
right? somehow like magic, I'm no longer on the board. Okay.
That's like wishful thinking. That's all right.
Exactly.
But you in there now,
I'm
sister.
in there, and I'm excited to be in there. I'm excited to start working with people who want to work.
How big is this board?
We have 9 people on the board.
Ooh. How many people in the town of Hamden?
Oh, 60,000 something.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Ooh, that's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. Mm-hmm.
All right. And so y'all got your Democratic Town Committee stuff coming up?
Well, we just had the caucuses.
Oh, how'd that go?
Well, it was very interesting. And that's why, first of all, thank you for allowing me to come and to talk a bit about Hamden and our town politics.
Absolutely.
I guess to preface this, Hamden is just going through some changes, but it's very representative of the changes that we see in the Democratic Party nationally.
Uh-huh.
You have moderate Democrats, and then you have more progressive thinking Democrats.
I would surmise to say that I always thought Hamden was leading up to this moment.
Yeah, yes, it is, because the demographics of Hamden
is
changing.
Like it's been slowly
right.
changing, and now we're starting to see it quickly changing.
Exactly. Yeah. But I think that there was always a community there, but people have to get up and voice and let themselves be known.
Yeah.
But if you don't do that, then the status quo will continue to be the status quo.
Oh, yeah.
And so right now the status quo is trying so hard to hold on to it, and you can see the old guard versus new guard in a lot of different ways.
It is a microcosm of what we're seeing across this country.
That's right.
People don't want to give up power, or what they perceive as power,
exactly,
to other,
exactly,
and what they think is other.
Right.
That somehow or other, other is going to be what, like them.
Exactly.
No.
Right. And that's exactly what's happening, like with the Democratic caucus, in Hamden.
Yeah.
So what it is, folks that live, the residents, we don't have political education. It's not just Hamden, it's just everywhere.
Yeah.
Where people really just don't know
yes.
how this thing works.
Yeah.
And once you start to understand how it works, it's not difficult. It's not like rocket science, but you got to know how it works.
Yes.
And so this Democratic Town Committee is so important, because those are the people that are going to decide who are going to be the endorsed candidates.
Exactly.
So even though they don't, they meet once a month, and as is, that's pretty much what they do, is just handle elections. Some people, especially more progressively minded people, want the Democratic Town Council to be more active about politics in the town throughout the year, not just when elections come, but as it is, that's what they do. But it's so important, and so people don't recognize I'll say people that are not already part of it. People that are part of it, they recognize the power of that.
Oh yeah.
Right. So in this last caucus, while I had a call from someone that was concerned that someone who didn't live in her district was trying to organize people in that district, and this person made the comment that, well, that's my district, and I said, well, and I don't have any animosity with this person. Matter of fact, I hope that we actually work together on some stuff. But I said, I have a different perspective about that. I was like, I live in the 9th district, but I don't own that district. And no one owns any district.
And if somebody comes in to offer to organize the 9th district, that's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. Right, but it for some people, if they feel that it is a threat to their position, right? But the way I see it is, if we're saying we're Democrats and we want to come together, and especially in this climate where we really need to come together nationally, we need to come together. But you've got to come together in your towns in order to come together in a larger way. So instead of fighting each other, and people are fighting each other. They really just are upset with other Democrats because they want something, because they want a more progressive agenda. Like, they want to talk about police accountability. They want to talk about, spending in the town in constructive ways. That's
right, because your tax dollars go to that.
Right. But when you want to keep it the same way because you are benefiting, but it's not necessarily benefiting other people, then you're going to do anything, like start pulling in people that used to be on town council from years ago and tell them, come run against this person who's talking against me. That's not being a Democrat. That's exactly what's going on. That's what the town council. So now we have some people who were on the town council many years ago who were brought in. Who knows who called them? I mean, I know who called them, but were called in to run against some of the more progressively thinking people who were challenging the mayor's office about spending and budgets and so forth. So how different are we than the Republican Party?
Exactly.
How different are we if we're doing the exact same thing? That you want it to be moderate, you want it to be status quo, and it comes down to this: you just want to keep your job. So public servants are no longer public servants.
Right.
Public servants are now you're workers. This is your job. So you don't really care about how your decisions are affecting the whole town. And I'm not talking about just the mayors. I'm talking about all of us, everyone who's on that Democratic town council, or everyone who's on the town council, who's on the Democratic committee, who's on the Board of Ed. It's not always, and I'm not saying this about everyone, but for some people, it's about, for those, especially those that are being paid, that are paid from the town, it's about keeping a job or keeping your position, or trying to use this as a springboard to go someplace else.
Yes. Yep.
And we all know that.
Yeah.
We already know that.
Yeah, we see
that
it.
That is politics.
But
we don't have to play at that. We don't have to play that.
No, and you know what? And I feel you, because I think there's a real opportunity to change things.
Yes.
If not now, like, this is the perfect storm to change things.
Yes.
To usher in a different way of doing politics.
Right. Absolutely.
So,
but it's like you have to have a vision for that.
You do have to have a vision, and it's a lot of time.
Right. It is. And it's a lot of fighting.
It's a lot of fighting.
You know, it's constant figuring out who is who. And I think that, you know, as you asked earlier, you know, how's it going? I think one of the things about coming onto the board, because I'm really I'm adamant about making sure our education is good for our young people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that's what's going to change, you know, the United States. That's going to change Hamden, Connecticut. You know, it's when we educate our kids in all kinds of ways and make that education mean something different than it means now. Because right now, people don't really value, and I'm not saying that in that kind of trite kind of way. People really don't value what education can do to us in a human kind of way.
Yeah, they don't value teachers. They don't value.
No, oh my God, no.
Yeah, teachers are so not valued.
So
if they ask for a penny, you'd think they were asking for a gazillion dollars.
Yeah. Oh yeah, teachers are. Are, I would say that they're. I would say one of the, if not the most undervalued workers that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I would agree. And then people always want teachers to be the first line of defense on anything.
Right.
You know.
Right. Right. And they blame them.
Right. Oh, you can't control your class. Oh, you can't control these kids. Right. Oh, how come you don't see this? How come you're not I'm like, well, I got to teach a lesson too. Like I got to.
Thank you. Thank you.
I got to get a lesson going.
Right.
And but I can't do that because I got to do all these other things.
Exactly.
I got to check, you know, mental health. I got to check, you know, this child's whatever. There's so many other things I got to do before I even get to open the book.
Ooh, child, you don't have to tell me. Boy, I've had that experience.
And then when I get to open the book, I got 20 minutes left.
Exactly.
Right. And then I got to teach some tests, right? Because I got to make sure these kids hit these numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know.
And then you want to ask them to take money out of their pocket to decorate their class. Or to bring in. Come on now. Come on now.
Yes. That's what yeah. And you know, I was reading these things that people are not going into the teaching profession, or they're leaving. People are leaving the teaching profession, and not enough teachers are coming into it.
Exactly.
And I understand it.
Yeah. And I understand students don't want to become teachers for a couple of reasons. One, teachers don't get paid. These young people are aware enough that they want to get paid, one. And then two, if you don't have a good experience in school, why would you want that to be your profession?
Yeah.
So it's both things. You know, it's teachers need to make the environment one where, you know, students enjoy that and, you know, enjoy school and want to come to school. But at the same time, the community, the state, the country has to value education enough to value the teachers in a way that makes them want to do their best and have the space to do their best. Because right now with the testing,
oh my God, all the testing, I just feel like it's a battleground.
It is.
Like school feels like a battle. When I was a kid, I had such dynamic teachers who taught from the world. And it was just, that's how I got to love education. Right. Because I had teachers who just gave me the world.
Exactly.
And just made it exciting. These teachers now, you know, I'm on Facebook with teachers. They're like, "Oh my God, I hope it's a snow day."
Right, exactly, exactly. Or, "Oh my God, it's time to go back."
It's like, "Oh my God, I gotta go back."
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, it's.
And I don't want them to feel that way, and I understand how they feel that way.
Exactly.
Right, I get it. So yeah, you got your hands full.
I do, but I'm excited. I'm excited about it.
I can tell you are excited about it.
I am,
and you know, I think the Board of Education is a good entree into the political realm.
Yeah.
And you don't get no more political than the Board of Ed.
Yeah, but I think because it gets you into the political realm, then sometimes you have people, and I'm not necessarily saying, I'm saying this in general. I'm not necessarily saying this about Hamden, but sometimes you have people that use that just to get into political realm.
Oh yeah,
and really just don't have a background in education. Yeah, you know, and I'm not side-eyeing anybody in particular or anything like that, but I'm just saying that that's how that comes across sometimes. You know, that you're just kind of using it as a step forward to go someplace else.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a hard thing to do.
Right.
Do your time on the Board of Ed, and then you make your move somewhere else.
But I think what happens there is then things get too cloudy, because what happens is that if you're looking at the Board of Ed as a stepping stone to somewhere else, then your allegiance is to something else.
Yes.
You see,
so you're not really caring about what's happening.
No, you're focusing more on what's good for the the town because you want to become mayor
Yeah.
or you want to get on the town council. So you're worried about that, when in fact maybe the decisions that some of the decisions that the town is making is not necessarily the best for school.
Yeah.
You know, like for instance, and this is already out there, so this is not breaking any kind of code of what are we supposed to be, not say certain things about certain things as a board member, but this is already out there. In Hamden, we know that some schools are being closed because the state has said that we are not racially balanced, and
that's a very skewed sort of thing because of what they're using as a measuring tool.
Exactly.
Is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. So there's work there on the state level to talk about what diversity and racially balanced means. I mean, I like the idea, and it is an ideal with an L. You know, it's an ideal world to have racially balanced schools, but if you can't have racially balanced schools in an organic way, if your housing is
say it, somebody say it.
What I'm saying. So
yes, because your zip code determines where you go to school.
Exactly. So if you don't put any kind of public housing or lower income housing in the 9th district,
or my favorite term, affordable housing, which whatever that means.
Right. Exactly. or even if we call it what it's called, mixed income housing.
Mixed income.
You know, if you don't put any of that up in the 9th district or any of the districts that are affluent, right?
And they're not going to let you.
Right. And we already know that there's a correlation between race and socioeconomic class, especially here in Connecticut. Well, then you're not going to have racially balanced schools. Yes. So now we have to, it's in an inorganic way, try to manipulate the lines to try to make it look like, you know, the schools are balanced. Yeah. But you know, in that balancing, who gets the short end of the stick?
Of course.
Right. So the schools that are closed are the schools that had the most, mostly people
black
of
and
color.
brown.
That's right.
Black and brown kids.
Black and brown. So two of the schools.
So what happens to those kids? So now they gotta be bussed further in, right. Or
everyone is going to be affected in some kind of way, but those especially because the whole school is not going to be there anymore. So 2 schools are being closed, and then one of those schools is being sold, which is Church Street School.
Oh,
yeah. And so there, you know, that sale is very political, and I'll leave it at that. But that's what I mean, going back to what we're saying, which is that if you are working towards being, using the Board of Ed as a stepping stone, then and you know that the sale of that school is political, then you may not be looking at the importance of that school or the sale of that school from the perspective of a Board of Ed and what's best for the schools and families and what families need. You will be looking at it as, oh, well, I'm trying to move up. What
I'm making it look. Right. This is a deal I'm making. Look, I got my hands in this, and this makes sense on paper.
Exactly. It's a deal. And what happens? You forget you're dealing with people's lives.
Yes.
Like you don't live there. Your kids don't go there. You're dealing with people's lives. So now with the Church Street with the sale of Church Street or the closing of it, and then the sale of it, but specifically with the closing of it, now these students are now going to be moved to Wintergreen, and that trip, there's no bus route. So so Church Street.
So does the Board of Ed have to figure out a bus route?
Well, we're talking about city bus route. And that's what we're talking about. Like, of course, they'll have a bus for the students, but
there's no city bus access.
Exactly. And so it's further away. And so now if you don't have a car, and Church Street is part of a community where more than likely there's more people who don't have cars.
Yes.
And who use public transportation.
Uh-huh.
But if you don't have that in place, these are just kind of some of the issues that are being discussed. And please do come out to Board of Education meetings and you'll hear these discussions. And you need to be there.
When do y'all meet? Do y'all have a set time, like the first Wednesday in the month or whatever?
Yeah, we are the second. So you caught me off guard. We're the second Tuesday, the third Tuesday. We meet next week.
Okay.
Look, I'm like second, third. We meet next week actually on Tuesday, and we actually next week we're meeting at the middle school
On the 14th.
Yes.
January 14th.
Yeah, and which, if you're looking at your calendar, which is that the second or the third?
That's the second.
Okay, we meet on the second. There we go.
The second Tuesday of the month.
Of every month, right. But this coming week, we meet at the middle school, but we usually
Is that the one on Dixwell Avenue?
On Dixwell Avenue,
okay.
Right. We usually meet at the Hamden Board of Education.
Where is that?
That's on
Putnam, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Y'all have space in there for people? Because that used to be a school.
Small. It is small.
Okay.
The space where we meet. But you know what? But this is the thing. If people start to come out,
they'd have to move it.
We have to move it. And people need to come out. People need to come to listen and to participate and to give your perspective.
What time is the meeting?
7 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Every
okay,
second.
That's a good time. People get to go home from work. They can't say, "Oh, I'm just getting off work. I got to feed kids." You're home already an hour or so. And...
Exactly.
Okay. Exactly. All right.
And that brings me to the ideal about political participation. You know, we have to come out. You know, I remember I was over at the Keefe Center during the election, and that they had such a low turnout for elections the last time. And you know, but everyone has lower turnouts when it's just quote unquote just local elections.
Yeah.
But it was so low, and that, you know, we got to work on that. You know, we have to get people have to be educated about what the power of your vote is.
Well, you're energized. I mean, I can feel the energy in you.
Exactly.
I mean, you're giving me Stacey Abrams.
There we go. And
right, because that's what she's doing. She's got a new book coming out in June talking about this very thing. I'm excited. But every time I hear her talk about the importance of voting, I forget the importance of voting until I hear her talk about it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's important. You know, some people, and I think people get discouraged because they don't see a change, or they're in a situation where things aren't going in their favor. And it doesn't mean that if you vote that it will necessarily go in your favor. But it's like it's a growing thing. You have to do it. So hopefully my energy will go to somebody else's energy. You start talking to people. You start inviting them to take place, and you know, inviting them to some of the meetings and to get involved. And what you'll find out is that there's a lot of people out there ready, and sometimes they just need someone, you know, to say, come over here. We need you. Come out and vote. Come out and see this. I know with the caucus, for instance, and this is the thing, people that are already in power really don't want more people in power. You know, they don't want people to be involved.
Girl, that's called voter disenfranchisement.
Exactly.
And suppression.
Exactly. So you don't tell them. So you don't educate them. Education is not part of what you do.
You know. So they move the poll places and make it difficult for you. Yes.
Right. And so with our caucus, first of all, most Democrats in Hamden didn't even know a caucus. Matter of fact, most of them don't even know what is the caucus. And then once we tell people to come out, when they get there, well, what am I supposed to do? Right? Now, we can say that that's the person's own, you know, that's their, they didn't do it. You know, they didn't go seek the information, and that is true. So I'm encouraging people that you got to seek the information. It is there. But it is also, I think, important for Democrats on the, that are part of the committee and the town legislative council and the Board of Ed to constantly invite people. We want to get engaged. But again, if it's your job and you're getting paid, you want it to be easy. You don't want challenge, because maybe you might get fired, you know, or maybe somebody might vote you out of office because these other people. But I think that you know, it's your job to try to find consensus. I mean, to me that's the politics right there. Try to find consensus. Don't shut people down. And that's what's going on in Hamden now, is they're trying to shut down. So the code word now is civility, right? So once I got voted in, you know, I guess people didn't know where I stand. And actually someone recently said, well, I don't want to say camp, and I said, yeah, you want to say camp. Everybody wants to know what camp you're in, right? And I said, well, my camp is that whoever's about justice, who's ever about doing work, that's where I am, wherever that is.
Go ahead. So join her.
That's right. Absolutely. But right now, that word civility is the hot word. So what people were saying.
And I know why people say it, because they're using it as a way to, first of all, it's a stalling tactic. And it's a way to sort of make people think, oh my God, you know, listen, I'm all for people shouting.
That's right.
I don't give a damn about civility in the face of injustice.
If you're not listening, then I have to raise my voice.
I have to raise my voice.
That's right. So I was told, oh, you'll like being on the Board of Ed because they're nice and they get along.
I don't need them to be nice or get along. What I need is the work to be done.
But the council, because there were people on the council who were standing up against or challenging and critically analyzing, which we should be doing, the budget, police accountability, the schools, all of those things. But now they say that, oh, they're not good people. That we have to bring back a sense of civility,
a sense of rollover.
Right, right. I have a problem with that.
Because those are cold words.
Exactly.
We know the cold words when we hear them.
Exactly.
I hate that they're using civility as a cold word, but they are.
They are.
I hear it all the time.
Right, and they want to get rid of people who they consider are not civil. And the thing about it is, there's no one that is not civil. It's just that we're questioning.
Yes.
We're questioning, and we're questioning it for a reason. We're questioning it because we want the best.
Yeah.
And yeah, your perspective is that's the best, but we have a different perspective. So this is the politics here. So how do we come together, not dismiss the person, not get them away so that you can have all the, don't we see that happening right now?
Oh, yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
so don't talk about Trump if you're using some Trumpisms in your way. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you're doing.
Yes.
Is you're squashing any kind of dissent because you want it to be, as a matter of fact, Dr. John Henrik Clark, a self-taught historian, once said, white people don't know fractions. They don't want to share. And so now I'm not just talking about white people. I'm just talking about people who don't want to share.
That's it.
I'm talking about people who don't see the value of, if we have a town council, then that town council should represent
the
different perspectives
of the
that
town.
are in the town.
Exactly.
And deal with it. It's not going to be easy.
No, it's not going to be easy. And people got to roll up their sleeves and be like, all right, this is what it is.
That's right.
And you trying to suppress whatever is not helpful to the town.
It isn't.
And it's certainly not helpful to the Board of Education and to the children that you serve.
That's right.
Particularly when these black and brown children ain't going nowhere.
Not going. Matter of fact, more coming in. Get used to it. More of them coming in.
So you can close all the schools you want. You can make it as difficult as you want.
Exactly.
Whatever.
Exactly.
They're not going anywhere. They're going to find. Listen, nature abhors a vacuum, right? So a way will be figured out.
That's right.
And we come from people that make a way out of no way.
Yeah, and it's crazy, when you look at Hamden, when we look at the demographics, and I was telling you, I think we have like 60,000 people or something like that. I think that's right. Is that right? I think that's about right. But you have more whites. Or is that why? You know what I had pulled up some demographics on that.
Well, it's interesting because yesterday on Criminal Justice Insider, I had Earl Bloodworth and Ken Barone on, and Ken Barone is from academia, right? He's a think tank out of Central Connecticut.
Okay,
and he was talking about police departments and how the Hamden, the town of Hamden, was very resistant to the data of these stops, of stopping people for broken headlights and taillights, using those stops as a way to sort of do drug enforcement.
Right. Right.
And the data shows that doesn't work.
Right. Exactly.
And but Hamden had one of the highest stops for that kind of thing. So the chief was like, okay, let me just take these examples and let's do this and see where it falls out for us. And started to implement change.
Right.
Your old chief. Now I don't know what this new chief gonna do.
That's a whole nother issue too.
But the point that I'm making is, the data showed one thing on how to do policing, because they were wedded to the fact that this is how you do good policing. You have to make this. You have to stop people.
Right.
And they were only stopping people on that New Haven Hamden border. They wasn't stopping them on other part. Hamden is not is bordered on other places.
Exactly.
But they're not stopping people on other.
No, because of assumptions, racist assumptions. Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So when the data bore that out, they were like, oh my God.
Right.
Oh, we didn't see that. Yes, you did.
Right. Exactly.
You knew exactly what you're doing.
Exactly.
So that gives me that same sort of vibe. Like, you know what this is.
Exactly.
We know what this is. This is, we're not going to argue the point about, is this racist? We know it's racist.
Right.
So now how can we move through this and stamp this out and still achieve what we need to achieve, which is educational parity for our children? Right. How do we do that?
Ooh, that's the work. That's the work. But part of it is we really have to. It can't come from the board of ed, the superintendent, the teachers. It can't all come from there. In other words, if we want it to come from there, we have to make it come from there. So it's like parents and families and communities have to come out. That's why these meetings are so important, that you come out and you make change. You know, it's just like this ideal of civility. If people don't rise up and speak up, things are not going to happen, or they won't happen quickly. So if you don't come out and show that this is so important, it's so important that 100 of us are going to come to a meeting, and we're going to come to every meeting until you move on it. If you don't do that, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think the time is now. I mean, I honestly believe that Hamden has been moving in this direction for quite some time.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it as we've seen people sort of move over that line into Hamden. Like, at some point this was going to come to a head. This was going to.
It has to happen.
Yeah.
Because like you say, people moving over into that line, and that's what's happening. The demographics are changing. But people are trying to hold on. So this is it's a growing moment, and we should be excited about that, because, you know, if you're growing, that means something new is going to.
Yes.
And so if we take that as a glass half full, take that as our lemonade, and actually it's not even lemons. It's good when people come in. It's good when difference comes. But if we take that and then use that to form it the way that we want it to be, and with good things in mind, you know, we could do all kinds of things.
I think so.
We could be a model.
Hamden has the highest property tax in the state?
Some of them.
Some of the highest property.
I think I just read that out.
Yeah.
Hartford is
higher, but it's Hamden, right? Like, Hamden is not Hartford, is not Westport, is not. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a hard distinction. Like, I would be shocked by that if I lived in here. I'd be like, what is happening?
Right.
So you cannot have these conversations in isolation. Your economic dependency depends on a diverse population of people that can pay taxes in your town.
That's right. And so you want to bring people in. But see, part of the problem right now, though, is, and this is why you have people on the council who were critical of, say, the mayor's handling of finances, is that we're in some dire situations.
Well, yeah, because your previous mayor was in over his head.
So, and it keeps going until we get that under control. Right?
Yes.
And so that all affects all of us. You know, it affects those who own property, but those who also rent from people who own property.
Exactly.
Right? So it's not, so people who don't own property can't think that, oh, the mill rate doesn't have anything to do with me.
No.
It has
if you're a renter, everybody's affected by this.
Everybody.
So Roxana, how much time you devoted to this?
How much time have I?
How much time can you devote to this? Because this is a huge laundry list of, because you can't address one thing without ticking off to the next thing this becomes everything.
Well, so far, you know, when you're on the board, you're on committees. So I've been placed on 2 committees. And so of course they have the committees will meet once a month.
What committees are you on?
I'm on the equity committee, and I'm on the goals and evaluations committee.
Oh, that's good, because that, you know what, you have some skills around that kind of thing.
Yeah,
and they would listen to you.
I hope so. Yeah, I think so. I think we're gonna work some things out. So
and they probably never had this caliber of person on their board like you that can.
Well, thank you for that.
No, seriously. Oh no, people are whispering like, she is very, very smart. Like, she has a good grasp of this stuff.
Well, I hope so. I mean, I'm ready to work with people. And I say that all the time, mainly because, you know, sometimes people say one thing in your face. And I'll leave it at that.
Welcome to politics.
Exactly, because that's what it is, the political political workings, you know. And so people are cordial in your face, but then you know that there's some other kind of organizing in other kinds of ways behind your back.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. Because as long as you walk into that knowing that that's happening,
exactly,
so that you're not blindsided,
Right.
that you can prepare for just about anything.
exactly,
Right.
And I do prepare.
Okay.
So please,
I don't know too many black women who are not prepared.
exactly,
You know, because I mean that's just going to happen. That's just the nature of the beast of politics.
right,
And when the stakes are so high, and
exactly,
you know what I mean. So
I
people
do.
will feel some kind of way about,
I do,
you know, and particularly if they just imagine what your motivations are.
right, right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you're very clear about what your motivations are.
I am,
But if people think that you have some other hidden agenda,
right,
does she have a hidden agenda?
Yeah.
No, my agenda is X, Y, and Z.
yeah, and you know what? And that's the hard part about politics is that you're always, you're put in this position where people aren't necessarily who they say they are, and
Yeah.
I'm the type of person where I am who I am.
What you say is what you get.
pretty
Yes,
much. And
girl.
so
Me
when
too.
when I'm in a situation when I feel like people are trying to get over on me,
Uh-huh.
that really that fuels something in me, because I'm like, if you can just be straight up, we can get things done and we can get it done more quickly.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, I mean, you got your work cut out for you, but you seem to be fired up for it.
I am.
Are there other people on that board who are equally? Are there some new blood on that board?
Gary Walsh, he's a Republican. The two of us are new. We're the only two new ones on the board, and then we have everyone else has been there already.
Okay.
And I mean, I think people are genuinely interested and ready to work to try to make things better for our schools. But I think we could benefit from some creative thinking, like thinking outside of the box. Like it doesn't have to go this way.
Yeah.
And also fighting for what our vision is.
Mhm.
So one of the things that I want to bring is that we have a very clear vision about what we want for our schools. Not just as things come along, we take care of them or whatever, but that we have a vision that's based on our relationship with the community. And so you have to first have that relationship with the community, and not just one part of the community, but all of the community.
So now, is there opportunity for the board to retreat, to lay out some of these things, like to become a unified body, like okay, we're going to retreat on a Saturday to sort of come back as a board saying these are the things that we value. Is there opportunity for that?
Well, we did have we had a workshop.
Okay.
And it wasn't necessarily about that, but yeah, we can do what we want to do. We can have meetings to create our vision, to do whatever we think needs to happen. We can do that. And I'm not saying that work that they've never done that before. I don't know, but I'm just saying what I want to bring to the board, which is that we will work more fiercely if we have a vision. We know so that every decision that comes through, like if we have this general vision about what we see for Hamden Public Schools, whenever we have any kind of topic or issue or decision to make, we go back to that vision. Well, how does that fit into the vision? But if you don't have a vision, then everything is just kind of here piecemeally. Just this whole thing with schools closing and trying to repair schools and so forth. As we do that, we have to, if we go back to our vision, if we have this vision, we would know more clearly how to proceed.
Yes. I am with you. I mean, I serve on the board of Common Ground, which is its own board of education, right? Because it's a charter school. And so we've been doing these 3 years of this social justice work around CEIO, right? Through this lens and everything. And it's funny because I'm on that board and Planned Parenthood of Southern New England board. Okay. And they're the two in that the CEIO has taken on. So I'm on both these two boards where they are working with these two organizations in the city, which is odd. But everything that we do is filtered through a social justice lens, a very specific social justice lens to eradicate racism. Yes. And that's no heavy feat, right? So everything that we do, we have to dissect it to the point of, let's look at this, and that's the necessary work. That's right. It's time consuming. Right. But it's necessary work so that if we say we want to eradicate racism, this is what you have to do. Right. You have to have a curriculum that reflects that. That's right. You have to have a teaching population that reflects that. You've got to have rules and policies that reflect that. Exactly. Right? Like across the board. So So
Yeah.
that's the only way you're going to be able to do that work. So a vision, I think, is around that same thing. So when we make this, so when y'all are making decisions about the textbooks and where to spend money and who gets funded and how we hire part-time coaching staff, like, are we looking at through our visionary lens?
Exactly.
Right? That's how that's got to go.
Right. It keeps you on focus.
It keeps you on focus.
And it lets you get things done.
So you're not like,
linger.
oh, I got a cousin over here who could do it.
Right.
And that has worked on a lot of instances. But we're trying to do something a little different than, Uncle Ray Ray over there trying to come over here.
We're doing something a little different. That's right.
a little different. So now, do you have your own set of goals representing the area that you represent? Do you have your own set of goals that you come with and say, you know what, the people that I represent on this board, this is what they would like to see happen? Do you bring that to the table?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure what you mean. Like,
because you represent a particular community, right?
Well, not exactly.
Oh, no, it's at large.
It's at large.
Oh, okay, that's right.
However, but we do. It is definitely at large. But we do. Each of us takes on a school, and actually, they've asked me to do 2 schools. So we kind of we're the liaison between the board and those schools.
Okay. And
so my schools are Church Street and Helen Street.
Church Street, which is going to close.
Is going to close, right?
So when are they thinking that going to happen?
Well, that's well.
Oh, so
that's going to happen, but So,
but they got some time.
Yeah, not much time. So next year, these things should be. Yeah.
Okay.
So we should be. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So that means you go over there and have a conversation with these parents, with these teachers, with the principal.
Yeah, right. And so like last night, I went to Dunbar Hills PTA meeting, and so you go to and so I went there because I want to get to know all the principals and PTA and just get to know people. And that will be interesting too, to start to look at different PTAs, because actually some schools don't have PTAs or have had difficult times maintaining PTAs and so forth. So you start to see the difference. Like we have one school whose bank account, I think, is like upwards of $50,000. But they do a lot of
fundraising.
The PTA, they do a lot of fundraising, but because they're in a community where people have the money to contribute. I mean, it's usually families that are, buying whatever the fund or participating in the fundraisers. But then if you're in a community where people don't have money, so
we have that same thing in New Haven. If you look at Hooker,
right,
and then you look at like
another one,
another school, Lincoln Bassett,
exactly.
Right?
It's a big.
They're not far apart, but
they're far apart.
The parental involvement is very different.
Exactly. But see that, and so one thing I would like to bring is to start to work on that parental involvement, and it doesn't have to come down to just fundraising on the PTA, but just being there and offering that time, and then also coming to Board of Ed meetings and being fine with having a perspective about whatever it is. Have a perspective about teaching and testing. What do you think about your kids having to take these tests? Do you know about these tests? What are these tests testing? What are they beneficial? How much time your school, does your school give homework? Do you like that? Do you how much homework do they give? Do they not? Because some schools, some teachers don't give any homework. Some parents like that, some don't. Have discussions about that. And be involved.
And parents can have those discussions. Parents could say, it's too much homework, or it's not enough homework.
Right. And let that help that to be a guide to the schools.
Right.
And then the schools be a guide to the board.
I think parents sometimes feel a little bit intimidated.
Absolutely. Not even a little bit.
Because I think educators speaking a language that sometimes is a little above or not the language that everyday parents use.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Because I've seen it. I walk into spaces when my kids were in school, and I remember going to IEPs and stuff like that.
Yes.
And you sit around, it's like an inquisition. It's like 100 people sitting around the table
against you,
against
me,
and
you feel like it's against.
And I'm like, and my saving grace is I'm probably more educated than these people sitting at this table, but they can't see that because all they see is a big black woman coming through the door, so they don't know me until I open my mouth.
Like, you don't know me.
you know, until I open my mouth and I can speak the King's English better than they can.
Right.
And then then they settle down because they start with that da 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 da, and I was like, whoa, wait, this, that, and the other thing, you know. And I take out my lightsaber and I'm like, and then but then you know, I as a parent, you get tired of walking into those traps,
right,
because they wear you down,
right,
because they are traps.
So then you don't go, and you say it's not going to do anything anyway,
right? Because they don't hear me,
right.
And I'm tired of them saying my kid is like whatever, a problem,
right?
Like, okay, help me solve this problem if it's a problem. I get it. I've been in those spaces. I don't have kids in the school system now, thank the Lord.
Say it again.
So grateful to be out that game. But I remember watching other parents try to maneuver those waters and trying to low-key be an advocate for other parents when I hear, you know, people talking to them in a way that I'm like, okay, break this down a little bit better so that, you know, because she's not understanding the language.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, what does this mean? Like, you know, and don't rush through this. Like, take your time and lay it out. And don't be condescending.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I can understand parents, you know, fears and concern about not going to some of these meetings by themselves because it can be off-putting,
right,
and intimidating.
Absolutely.
You know, so you got your hands full, my dear.
I do.
But you're excited about it, which is good. I want you to stay excited.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to stay excited too, but you know, some days I'm like really overly excited, but not necessarily in a good way, but just like, okay, these people are getting on my nerves. So it's like, I'm really thankful for Lovebabz, because this is a place where we can talk.
Absolutely. You know? And people will hear this and they'll be like, oh my God, I feel everything about that.
This is the power of community radio.
Yeah.
Is that we can come here and we can talk about these issues, and it's not in some formal meeting. This is in let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk about the issues that affect us. And
these are real things.
They are.
I love that you're on this board of education. I do. And I think you bring so much to it. I think it'll be a shifting. I just don't want you to get burnt out. I want you to self-care. I mean, deeply self-care. Like, you know what?
Well, send me some money and then I can take a little trip. You know, I like self-care. But it's true. But you know what? The way down to get burnt out is if the community does their part.
Yes.
You voted me in.
Yes.
I'm ready to serve you. And the board, we don't get any money. That's another conversation. We don't get any money. We don't get it. We don't get a little stipend. The council gets a little stipend. We don't get a stipend, even though it's small. But anyway, but I'm here to serve you. Come to the meetings. Come support. Come. Let me hear what you have to say. Let me help you.
Yes.
But you got to come support it too.
Exactly.
You know, whatever.
So now, where do y'all post your meetings before we go?
They're on the Hamden Board of Education page, Hamden Public Schools page.
All right, so people can find it there.
Yes. And remember too that you can come to the committee meetings. Everything is open. So there's a curriculum meeting, the ethics committee, curriculum committee, ethics committee, goals and evaluation committee, operations committee, finance committee, ethics, I think, committee. I think that's all of them.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So people could just dive in wherever.
You can come in. You can come and you can be part of the meeting, and people need to take advantage of that. And the same thing, not just with the school board, the same thing with the council meetings, the town council meetings. Come to those meetings. You have to see how the people that you're voting in, you have to see how if they're working for your good or not. You can call them too if you have issues, you know, and then also in the mayor's office, everyone that's hired there, all the commissions,
they work for you.
There's so many commissions where the mayor appoints people. Go online. Matter of fact, this is a job for people that are listening. Go online. Go look at all the commissions and boards that the mayor appoints.
And serve.
And look and see who's on those committees. And go, and then if there's some vacancies, go ahead and
put your name in the hat.
Yeah, you got to put your name in the hat, and then go, and you can go to those meetings are all open too.
Yes.
Go to a couple of them every now and then. See what's going on. You will be amazed.
I invite everybody to go to at least once a month.
There we go.
Go to something once a month.
Yes.
That's all, once a month, and just go to as many meetings as you know. And so that's 12 months. So go to a meeting, and you can go to different ones just to get a flavor for how they roll.
That's right. That's what you got to do. That's what you have to do.
Thank you, Roxana.
Thank you.
I hope you come back and give us an update.
I would love to.
I'd appreciate that greatly. Just see how you're doing.
I'll call you.
Thank you, Harry. Harry, we ready to roll out, Harry. I don't even know where Harry is.
Harry.
I know, right? There we go. Goodbye.
No.